Retail sales, they've actually been pretty resilient despite all the changes we've seen. Last month, according to MasterCard, up 4.5% overall, but e-commerce topping 50% year-over-year growth. A lot of major retailers, they've shifted their operations to respond to this ramp up in e-commerce. But what are they doing in response to those higher shipping costs and also e-commerce that just requires many more workers?
That's what we're hearing about across the board, right? Is log jams in shipping, big delays. Nordstrom called that out. So many retailers have called that out. Also, higher prices. Everybody was getting pressured on their gross margin because they're paying more to get goods shipped to consumers. So what some of the retailers have done in an incredibly smart way, and some earlier than others, is move very quickly to be able to fulfill stores and start using their stores as logistics centers and distribution centers. Of course, Target was one of the first to lead the charge on that and is fulfilling 3/4 of all of their orders from their store today. So that helps big time when you're talking about cost of shipping.
So, Stacey, right now we're looking at some of the picks that you have as the winners of the retail revival. They include American Eagle, Levi's, and TJX, the owner of TJ Maxx and Marshalls, and also, I believe, Home Goods as well. Why do you think they're positioned to take advantage of this return to quote unquote normalcy? And what are they doing about returns? We had a company on yesterday saying returns are up over 200% year to date.
Well, you know what's interesting, Frank, is when you talk about returns, it depends who you are. Because actually, during this pandemic, what we've seen is the consumer, and Levi's called this out, is buying things that was buying with intent and buying things, let's say, maybe that are a little stretchier than normal. So there's lower returns, particularly in some of the apparel players. But I think, it sounds strange to call out Levi's as a top pick because they're hard pants, right? Everybody's talking about, I'm never going back to hard pants. But I think about, as you look at Levi's, what they are doing really smart is they are looking at the secondhand market, which is, some estimate, 40 billion, and they are taking back control of that. So they are going to bring that in-house with a partner. Trove is their partner, of course, doing the fulfillment. And now they're going to own that customer, which gives them a huge digital knowledge base as well. And I would also say that, over a third of their business is in Europe, and Europe's been closed. So that's about to open up again, and everybody's about to really bust out and start shopping again. So I think not only from a top line perspective, but a margin perspective, they're doing more from the fulfillment from store. They're very early in that.
Stacey, I went out last night in Soho, and for the first time in a year, it felt like a normal night out in New York. We were outdoor dining, all masked, but people were dressed to the nines, and it was sort of a reality check for me that, wow, maybe I should revisit that part of the closet that I haven't gone to in a long time, dresses and blouses and whatnot. If more women follow this trend and get back to wearing those clothes, what's the #1 company that could benefit from this trend, a retailer that customized, has that inventory available, and a price point that women want to spend on?
So, Seema, we're hearing more and more about that. You're not the only one. And, it was interesting. Poshmark yesterday talked about the searches for dresses, and bathing suits are up 200%. So the consumer's ready. They're so ready to get out there. And Urban Outfitters was one of the ones that called that trend out. So they'll be a huge beneficiary. But I think also, if you look at a company like a PVH that has such amazingly well-priced fashionable clothing, but also real basics, I think they're incredibly poised to do quite well on the other side of this.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.